Welcome to Beyond the Campfire, the Dead by Daylight podcast, where we dive into the stories, secrets, and strategies behind the horrors and heroes within the fog. My name is Doug Baum, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Lemon. Hello, Lemon.
Hi, Dog Bum. How are you?
I am good. I think I need to give a little bit of context to the listeners for this week's episode. This is a bonus episode, our second bonus episode. Do you remember what our first bonus was?
That was Justice for Steve.
Just for Seagulls, Steve. Yeah. And this one is for two reasons. One, the main reason is there's been an awful lot of news revealed this week. It was the 10th year anniversary of Dead by Daylight. They had a big event. Lots of creators and lots of players were there. And they did a 2-hour stream where they revealed a lot of upcoming things. And I thought we would talk about them.
I have a question for you, Dog Bum.
Mhm.
Have you recovered for the lack of sleep? Because for me, it was 2 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
when they had the announcement, so it must have been like 1 o'clock for you.
I ended up going to sleep at 4 a.m. And I was furiously making notes so we could talk about stuff today. So I'm fine. I'm fine.
I gave up around 3, I think, 3 a.m.,
Mhm.
and I didn't recover until today.
Well, I'm fine. Jason's
W-
out in a few hours at the time
Okay.
of recording, so
So
yeah,
we're recording in daylight today.
I am recovered and ready for Jason, which will be next week's news, I guess. We'll talk about
Yes.
that. But yes, there's lots of news. So we thought we'd talk about the news, and we thought Lemon could talk about Maurice. Maurice is a central character to the world of Dead by Daylight, a very important character. It is the clown's horse, and is featured a lot throughout the lore of Dead by Daylight over the years. So we're going to learn about the horse. There is no perks for me to talk about with the horse, but yes, it'll be interesting to find out more about that. However, we will talk about last week's questions. Do you remember what your question was last week, Lemon?
My question was, have you been to the circus as a child? And what did you think of the clowns?
I have been to the circus as a child and as an adult. I go almost every year. Um, my dad, when I was a kid, used to get free tickets as a local business owner. One of the things that circus does when it comes to town is they ask all of the local businesses to put posters in their windows, and my dad's window was one of them, and he used to get free tickets. So we ended up going to
That
the
is so
circus a lot.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the clowns were and remain my favorite thing at the circus. I was never taken by animals when I was a kid. There's no animals in circuses these days, but when I was a kid, there was a lot of animals. I was never really into that. And the kind of showy stuff, aerial trapeze and things like they're impressive, but clowns make me laugh, and clowns are funny. So yeah, I do remember the clowns, and
I
they
would
were
have
excellent.
guessed that the magicians would have been your favorite part.
They rarely have magicians at circuses, at least in the UK. The
Oh,
only people who do magic really are the clowns.
hmm.
So yeah, that might be another reason why I like the clowns. How about yourself, Levin?
Yes. I have been to the circus a lot as a child. So, like, I expected this in the UK. Circus came to the city. They stayed for 1 or 2 days and moved on.
Mhm.
And always in the summer. So when they came to the town next to mine, we always went. And I remember we very, very often sat right behind the royals, the old queen, the
Oh,
old
okay.
old queen who's dead now. She always brought like the current king and his brother to
Hmm.
the circus, and because it was always in the summer, We basically sat next to them.
Amazing. And what were your thoughts on clowns? That was the main
They
question.
were boring.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I never found
that's
them, like, interesting at all or scary.
no, I've never found them scary. They're always really funny. They were always
I
my
found they
favorite
were
part.
a bit stupid, like how clumsy they were. I didn't find it funny.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
I asked, "What is your fear or phobia?" And you have a weird one. I'm looking for weird fears and phobias. Do you have any weird fears or phobias, Lemon?
I don't really feel like there's anything weird about me.
Nothing. Nothing scares you. Nothing.
Belly buttons?
Belly button. That is pretty weird, to be fair.
Do I have
I
anything else?
I don't have any weird fears or phobias. I always my biggest fear, I guess, is electricity and anything where physics is involved. So anything involving pressure. Like if I feel like something's about to explode or
Mm.
like shock me, I always get really kind of anxious around it. Whenever I change a light bulb in my house, I have a thing. I don't know where this has come from, but I have a thing when I change a light bulb. When I turn the light on for the first time afterwards, I have to shield my eyes
Oh, that is
away
weird.
in case it explodes. I just have a weird fear of it.
So you don't like those lamps that doesn't have, like, a shade around them, but it's just the light bulb?
I don't mind once they're fitted and they're working. I don't really mind them. It's more after I've changed the light bulb, I get really nervous around it.
Like, my light in the kitchen is like, 4 giant light bulbs
I
on a
don't mind that.
piece of wood.
I don't mind that.
Is, is I have a fear, but I don't know if it's weird. I feel like everybody else love this thing.
Mhm.
The Moonies? That what you
The
call it?
oh,
Moomies?
the Moomins.
Moomins! We call it
Moomins.
Moomintrollene.
Yeah,
Yeah, I fear those.
that is a weird fear because 'cause they're just cute little don't know what
They
they
are
are.
not cute. Oh my
Hippopotamus
god.
things? I
They
don't know
are
what they
so
are.
creepy. Ugh.
I think everyone in the comments will disagree with you there. Speaking of comments, we did have some comments on the last episode. One was from Windle, our friend Drunk David, who said, "I don't like people in costumes. I first noticed this when I was in work, and a few people came in attempting to raise money for charity. One of them was in a costume. I forget what they were dressed as, and I shut up and bolted to the back of the room. I didn't want them anywhere near me. I have no idea why it unsettles me, but it does."
That is weird.
That is a little bit weird, yeah. That is a little bit weird. Although
I
there are
wonder.
some scary costumes, I guess.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's because you can't see who's inside the costume. You don't know who it
Maybe,
is, if that's
maybe.
the scary part.
A lot of kind of serial killers and things have costumes or disguises, don't they? So
We also have some comments on Instagram. We have Ginge23 saying, "Not sure I should answer this." Side eyes.
oh, that's because Ginge is a clown. IRL.
And a bit clumsy.
And a bit clumsy,
And
yeah.
have some weird shit they are
Some
not
weird shit.
scared of.
That's true.
Yeah. Um, I did reply to them though and say, please do share, but they haven't.
We had another comment on Spotify from Shadowloo, which said, "Another great episode. Glad to hear you both had a fun time at TwitchCon. Thank you very much. I have been to a few circuses. Clowns used to be my fears, but nowadays I'm used to seeing them. But I agree with Lemon that the clown belly is disturbing. That's why I make sure he's Mr. Puddles to cover it. Mr. Puddles is the elephant cosmetic that I use
Oh,
on
yes, I do
stream.
like that one.
Strange phobias. I don't really have any. I remember a clip of a woman that was scared of pickles and ran out of a talk show because somebody brought out a jar of them. I can't wait to hear about Kate's Law. I'm so sorry, Shadowloo. You're going to have to wait one more week, but we will get to it.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
How many weeks did it take when you promised them the clown?
we're getting there. We're getting there.
Dave said, "Well, I've never been to a circus, and my phobias aren't really weird, just heights and deep water. I'm not a good swimmer."
Heights and water are pretty common fears, I think.
I feel like they are the classic ones.
And
Good
they are
old classic
scary.
one.
And they are scary, to be fair. So there's no real reason why that should be a phobia. They
Mm.
are naturally scared. You should be scared of heights and you should be scared of deep water
Why deep water?
because it's scary out there, isn't it? You can drown and sharks can get you. And
You can drown in shallow water.
yeah, no, but deep water's out there, miles away from anything.
I
So
grew up
we're making Dave all sweaty and scared now.
Sorry,
Let's talk
Dave.
about
I
deep
grew up
water.
with the sea in the back garden, and I'm not scared of deep waters.
That's why you're not scared of deep water. You've faced your fear. We could talk about this all day. However, we do have to move on because there is a lot of news. So I'm going to go through it in no particular order, and we'll talk about every kind of element and see how we feel about it. I'm going to jump straight to the chase. The big reveal at the end of the live show was that Art the Clown and Terrifier, the movie, is coming to Dead by Daylight on November the 11th. This is the thing they've been teasing without kind of revealing. This is the thing that nobody knew anything about. Any thoughts on this, Lemon, first of all?
No, not at all, because I don't know who Art is. Art the clown.
I don't either. I don't. My understanding is it's quite gruesome, though, the
It,
film.
it looks creepy.
Yeah. I don't know what his power will be, so I'm gonna hopefully watch the movie at some point before it's released so that I can form a real opinion over this killer. I will be buying it more than likely because it's another killer to the roster. But yeah, then I've kind of gathered a whole bunch of news that they released about cosmetics. So there are Scooby Doo cosmetics coming to Dead by Daylight.
Not excited.
Not excited. They teased Dwight dressed up as Scooby Doo, which I think was the biggest fear for people, I guess, is who the heck's going to be Scooby Doo? It's going to be Dwight. I'm excited. I think it's silly. Scooby Doo being a cartoon. Um, I'm excited because the classic Scooby Doo lineup is for adults slash teens, and then Scooby Doo, and I like the idea of cosmetics where all four people in the lobby can kind of be from the same thing. I just think that I like that vibe when you're playing with your friends and you can all put on your pajamas or you can all put on your Walking Dead or Stranger Things fits or Scooby Doo in this case. So I like it in that sense. And this is a classic
Mm,
team of four that hopefully they will do well. And hopefully Ace will be Shaggy.
I have never watched it, so I wouldn't even know who that is. Scooby Doo was not big over here, so I think that's why we don't really feel connected to any of it.
They also announced Glenn from The Walking Dead is coming to Dead by Daylight. Any impact on you that, Lemon?
No, I still need to watch Walking Dead.
I don't know Walking Dead either, but people were getting very excited about this.
Very excited, yeah.
Very excited. They have announced a collaboration with Diablo,
Yes,
particularly Diablo 4,
yes,
which I know you were excited about.
yes, I am a Diablo 3 girly, but I have played Diablo 4 and Diablo
Mhm.
2, and yes, please, more Diablo.
The thing they teased there was the artist dressed as Lilith, who I believe is the big bad from Diablo 4.
Yeah,
They announced a new Silent Hill collection. Cheryl as Shimitsu Hinaku is coming on June the 30th. Um, Interesting. But more interesting to me was the spirit that they showed, who is the nurse from Silent Hill.
and people
Um,
were excited for that too.
yeah, that looked really, really, really cool. I think that's
Mm,
an incredible fit.
it was a
That's coming
creepy
next year.
fit.
That's coming next year, 2027. Iron Maiden, they announced another legendary skin for the Huntress. The Huntress dressed as Eddie with a guitar hatchet. I thought that looked very cool. I think all of the Iron Maiden stuff is really good in game already. I think that is the best one that they've done by far.
Ooh, I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah. And then they showed off some community outfits for Fungmin, and they showed off a community outfit for the Knight, which looked really cool. The Knight one, we did discuss it on the Knight.
Yes,
Has like flowing red hair going down the back of the costume.
and it was really long.
It was incredibly long, like hair flowing down to the ankles. That looked amazing.
Mm.
I am not the biggest Knight fan, but I will play more Knight when I have that community outfit. Very cool. They showed a graphics overhaul. Did you see any of this, Lemon? I think this might have been after you went to
I
bed.
think I was fall asleep at that point.
So they showed some new character models, which were just updated graphics. Incredibly, incredibly updated. It's like a different game.
I saw some of the pictures,
Hmm.
and that looked pretty sick.
They showed a video of Kate on a hook, kind of screaming and yelling, which reminded me of the animations in Texas Chainsaw Massacre quite a lot,
Mm.
which again was visually massive difference from Dead by Daylight.
Mm.
They showed some of the map overhauls, Coal Tower and Gas Heaven. They showed dynamic weather. They showed a game being played in the rain with thunderstorms.
Ooh, that's cool.
And they kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there during the discussion where they were talking about Sharknado, and they were talking about like the weather could be anything that you could kind of imagine. Like it doesn't have to be limited to real world weather, I guess. That's what they were kind of teasing a little bit there. So that was interesting.
Imagine you can get offering to change the weather.
I imagine I
That would
imagine if
be
they do this is a long time. They said back end of 2027, but it's probably gonna get
okay.
pushed a little bit longer than that. But I imagine if they're doing this, there will be offerings, and I imagine there will be related, um, perks that work with weather as well.
That
I
would
could
be
see that being
cool.
a thing. And something that they mentioned, which I haven't really seen mentioned anywhere else, they only kind of very briefly touched on it, was audio changes. Now, as a partially deaf player of Dead by Daylight, this fascinates me and really interests me because they talked about the audio changing, going through walls. It'll be quieter. If you're in a room with carpet, things will be duller and quieter. So I'm interested to see how much they change with the audio as well. I think that's crucial, not just to me, but I think to the entire game.
Mm, that would
Audio
be
is
a
so key.
completely new vibe to the game.
Audio is already a massive part of Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
So I think the more dynamic they make that, the bigger.
Like, I have cosmetics for Jane. I don't
Hmm.
really use, like, the bottom half
Hmm.
because the sound of the shoes are different,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I just can't with some of her shoes. It's just like, I know.
Yeah, we get this a lot on Slate stream. So Slate runs the Valentine fit for Dave,
Yeah.
and people constantly say how nice the shoes sound because they make like a little flip, 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 flip sound on the some of the flooring. It's
Like,
quite
your
cute.
outfit, it sounds like flip-flops, like, "Doop blub
Hmm.
blub blub." Yeah, I cannot say like flip-flops, but
You know,
you know.
they showed two new game modes. One was a zombie game mode, which looked like a bit like Roblox when they showed it on the night.
Oh,
This was like in a development state, I guess, but they showed a bit of it, and it was 4 versus 1. So still 4 survivors, one killer, but the killer isn't trying to kill the survivors, and the survivors are not doing generators. There is a horde of zombies that are trying to attack the survivors, and the killer is trying to corral the zombie horde and trying to get the zombies to get the survivors. If a survivor gets caught, they turn into a zombie, and they are then a zombie. The survivors are trying to create vaccines and trying to hunt down the zombies. And once enough are done, once enough zombies have been vaccinated, then the survivors can escape. Interesting, I think that
very.
is. Um, it's very, very different. It
Yeah.
reminds me of all the complaints that we've had with 2 versus 8 recently with Nemesis's zombies and
Mm.
people saying that there's too many. There's only 4 on that map. I
That's a
I
lie.
imagine,
There's 20.
yeah, I imagine, like, they must be thinking, I don't know, 16 zombies, something like that for a horde?
That would be so much fun.
It could be funny, it could
I'm
be funny.
excited.
I'm intrigued. There's no date on that, but they showed a little bit of, pre-development and, yeah. It's
Also,
interesting that they're
just
thinking of stuff like this.
yeah, that they make like thinking in such a big change to the core game that
Mhm.
could mean other types of game modes in the future.
Well, they did announce one more, and that is
Oh,
1 versus 1. 1 versus 1, 1 killer, 1 survivor, no perks, no items, and it's a best of 3. It's inspired by competitive Dead by Daylight, which I've watched some of. I don't know if you have,
no.
but basically, one person starts at one doorway of Shack and another person stands at the other doorway. There's a timer, 3, 2, 1, and then you go into chase. And it's based on length of chase, um, and things like that. So there's always going to be a down. But I guess by doing their own 1v1, they can monitor that chase in game. They can also get rid of the hatch. There's always a hatch in 1 versus 1 competitive, so they can get rid of the hatch. So there's no escaping. It's literally chases for as long as you can. It's kind of interesting. It'll be good for competitive Dead by Daylight as well, to have an official game mode built
So
into the
it's
game.
just getting chased.
Yeah, it's the loops and the chases, and yeah, no, not feeling that one.
Not that excited for that.
Hmm,
I I
it'll be
want to
interesting.
escape. I want to get out of there.
They also announced as part of the update and as part of the overhaul that they are thinking of a sandbox mode, so people can create for Dead by Daylight, create their own game modes, create their own maps, and start to develop things for Dead by Daylight through, I guess, their sandbox interface. They said there'll be limitations, obviously, and rules, but I think that's really interesting. If they do
It
it
is.
right, if they do it right,
Mm,
the only game I mean, there's a lot of games nowadays, but my game was Halo. Halo built a system where people could build maps, and it was really, really good, and it was really limited, but it was
mm.
good limited. People were very
That
creative
sounds
within that.
yeah, sounds cool. It doesn't sound like anything I would ever do, but
Mm,
the people who has the skills and are creative and, like, can see stuff in their head and get them out in the
yeah,
game, that
so,
sounds so cool.
same. It's not I'm not going to be doing anything, but I can already think of dozens of creators who are
Mhm.
creative enough and have the time and the energy and the skills to
Yeah.
create some amazing stuff within the community. I already know that there are
I
some incredible people.
I just hope if somebody creates something amazing and behaviors that thinks, "Okay, this is something we want to keep," that they get rewarded somehow.
I'm wondering whether they go down the Roblox route or the Fortnite route of rewarding people for their maps being used and played and all of that. That's how that
Yeah,
kind of works.
maybe.
They get a reward, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That is well away. I think. I don't think that'll come with the overhaul. I think that'll come later,
Yeah.
or not at all. You know, these things are up in the air and pie in the sky. There was a big movie update for the Dead by Daylight movie. They had Jason Blum of Blumhouse there. We already knew that Blumhouse was going to be doing it, so this wasn't really news, but it's the first time really they've talked about it. But they have announced a director. Now, I can't say the director's name properly. Maybe you could, Lemon. They are Icelandic. Do you remember what that name was?
Todua Palsen.
Cool. Yeah, so they are the director. Um, they have made the movie The Damned. They have also done something on Netflix called The Valhalla Murders.
Mm,
Both of these things I have not seen, so I can't, again, comment on their directing skills, but they seem to be implying that he has chops. I will probably watch those things again in the upcoming months to be able to pass opinion. But then they didn't have anything to show, but when they asked, is there anything we can kind of share? They mentioned that there will be iconic features from Dead by Daylight, and they mentioned Macmillan Estate, and they mentioned Greenville Square as places that we will recognize in the movie. So
I'm
that's
excited
interesting.
to like what the storyline will be.
Would you like to know my theory?
Yes.
I would like to know anybody else's theory as well, by the way. If anybody has any
Trapper?
theories on this, post it in the chat. No, I don't think it's Trapper. I think my theory is it's going to be focused around survivors, and
Mm,
I think it's going to be focused around Sable and Michaela and the whole podcast thing. So they've really kind of leaned in to this relationship with Sable and Michaela, and that there's this podcast, and also,
podcast.
yeah, do you not know about you don't
No.
know your Dead by Daylight law? You're gonna have to,
Um, we haven't made it that far yet.
yeah. So there's a whole thing about those characters, and those characters kind of appeared. Well, Sable particularly appeared recently, and they have really kind of leaned in on Greenville Square, and those characters, and putting little bits of lore here and there. And I think it's going to be around those characters,
Hmm.
um, first and foremost, and that. But we'll wait and see. I can't see why they have been loading the lore so heavily if it's not about them, though.
Or it could be about a new killer, and that will be
It,
released with the movie.
it could be definitely could be a new killer. I don't think there's any. I don't really have any theories on the killer, to be fair. But yeah, it definitely could be a new killer. Um, Speaking of lore, they also announced that there is a new map coming in December, and it will be a new realm, and it will be the Mall.
Yes.
Um, they showed some images of this. They mentioned that it has verticality, and they mentioned that it feels like an outdoor space while being an indoor space. And they also said it was a liminal space, so there's lots of weirdness, oddness, strangeness about the space. But then they also revealed that it's going to create more lore and give more backstory to Dwight. Um,
Mm.
and they said and all the characters. So maybe not just Dwight, but they definitely leaned on Dwight's lore with them all.
And can we just remember that in one of the earlier episodes, I did say a map in a mall could be fun,
You
like
did
Mall
say
of America?
you did say a map in a
Just
mall could be
saying
fun.
it.
In fact, if I can find that audio, I will cut it in right here.
Like that could be fun, but also maybe like locations like the Mall of America.
Yeah, mall would be a good one. They also announced that Frank Stone is coming as an official chapter in 2027. It's going to be an original chapter, which means that it's brand new to Dead by Daylight. They're not classing it as a licensed chapter, so they can be different about the payments and things. That's interesting. There is already a Frank Stone mask available for Trapper. So
Yeah.
now there's going to be a killer in Dead by Daylight who is cosplaying as another killer in Dead by Daylight,
That
which
just
is kind
seems
of
so
intriguing.
needy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
A bit awkward.
Um, a little bit awkward. But from the bit that they showed a trailer. It looks like it's the final form of Frank Stone that's coming to the game, the kind of gaping maw monster form rather than the man in a shed form. On August the 25th, this year, the Grimoire is coming, which they again told us. We already knew this. It's called Chorus of Sin. The killer is called the Judgment. The survivor is called Aurora. I'm excited for this. I think it'll be really interesting. It'd be good if this did well, because I think
Mm,
then they will do it again and will do some more interesting
yeah. And the
choices.
picture they showed of the killer, like the art picture
Hmm.
thing,
Hmm.
that looked so cool.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I hope they do it again. I hope they do something similar, at least. Maybe not
And
as long. It
and
seemed
I'm
to drag on.
and I'm also excited that the community actually voted for a gray-haired survivor. I love that.
They also announced the name of the new character who is coming next week. So this week we're getting Jason as a standalone licensed chapter. Next week, we're getting a standalone um, original chapter. So no, there's no link between the character next week and Jason. Um, and that is Shane Wigwas, who is their first ever Indigenous character. And their chapter will be called The Life Road, and they come out on June 25th. And I think they look amazing. The little clip
Mm,
that they showed, I think they look amazing. I think the feel of it's amazing. I love that it's the first ever Indigenous character coming to Dead by Daylight. I love that they are still reaching out and trying to be inclusive.
mm.
There's nothing that I don't love about this character coming out next week. I don't know what their perks are or anything. I didn't look at them, but yeah, I'm very excited. I think I'm more excited about that coming out next week than Jason. I know. May I be so
You
bold?
can't say that.
I said
Oh
it.
my
I said
god.
it. I went
But yeah,
there.
same.
Um, yeah, very, very
It's so
cool.
cool that they decided to, like, show that part of their community in the country, like, in Canada.
Hmm.
Some
Hmm.
love,
Yeah,
and yeah, love it.
very cool. Yeah, I love it. And they also showed a trailer right at the start for the Black Banquet. So this is this year's event, their birthday event. It replaces the masquerade from the previous years. And they showed some cosmetics, which I think the masks for the survivors look amazing. Dwight's mask for the Black Banquet looks incredible. Um, and it's all based around food. They mentioned that there's a main course and a dessert course during the event. They didn't really go into specifics, but I'm intrigued and I'm excited.
I love food.
I also love food.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Num
That
num
is
num num.
coming super soon. I actually don't know when that's coming. Is that today? I have no idea.
I
But
don't
that's
know,
coming
but it has to be
very soon.
soon.
They also revealed a little bit of the next rift. It's going to be called Sunflesh. They showed some cosmetics from the Sunflesh rift, and that is almost everything. Except on the they did show a roadmap. The only thing that isn't revealed on the roadmap is a new survivor coming in April next year. So that's the
Oh,
only thing that they didn't kind of announce. I have no idea who that is, and I'm intrigued as to why they've not revealed that.
me too.
They must know. They must know, but they haven't revealed
They
that. They
have
did
to
say that there
know.
would be more information revealed about all of this stuff um, at some future live streams. So yeah, there's still a lot more to be revealed, but that was a lot. That was a lot
Mm,
that they revealed. They also talked about their indie wing. They are rebranding their indie games brand as Misbehavior, and bringing a
I
little
love the
mascot.
name.
Yeah, the logo's cool as well. It's like a little mascot, cool. And they showed 3 games, which are all coming with charms. So I guess if you get the games, you get the charms, and you get extra stuff for Dead by Daylight. So that's why it's kind of relevant to Dead by Daylight. And to me, and they didn't mention this, but to me, having watched the trailers, they all look like they could be characters, future killers, future characters in Dead by Daylight.
That's exciting.
So they said they want to support indie games. Tick. They said they want to support um, independent thinking. They want to support horror and promote horror because they know that. But for me, I think there might be a little bit of them thinking these are some IPs that we can then put into Dead by Daylight. That's my kind of business hat.
That's a bit sneaky.
But I like it. I like it. No, so that's a lot of news. There's a lot to digest there. Um, I think we should take a little rest around the campfire and listen to a story about a young horse named Maurice.
So today we're talking about one of the most beloved characters in Dead by Daylight. A character with no perks, no powers, no tome, no voice lines, no archives, but somehow has a massive fan base, including me. Because today we're talking about Maurice. And yes, Maurice is the horse. Now, if you have ever played on Father Campbell's chapel, you have probably seen him laying beside the circus wagon, just quietly minding his own business, not chasing anyone, not repairing any generators, never hooked a survivor. He is just existing. Somehow, over the years, the Dead by Daylight community collectively decided we must protect this horse at all costs. And that's how Maurice became a legend. The legend he deserves to be. Maurice first appeared as a part of the Clown's chapter. So, I assume you have listened to our episode about the Clown. So you know that he's not really a pleasant man. He's actually one of the most disturbing killers in the game. He's a serial killer. He collects trophies. You know, the fingers. He is all around a terrible human being. And yet, standing next to his wagon is Maurice, a completely innocent soul. The contrast is just amazing. You got one of the most horrible people in the fog standing beside what might be the least threatening creature in the entire game. For years, Maurice was simply a part of the scenery, but players kept noticing, and people would, during matches, stop to visit him. Survivors would point at him or try to pet him. Killers would sometimes bring survivors over for a quick Maurice appreciation break. And that is when fan art starts to appear. Memes spread through the community. And before long, Maurice wasn't just a background prop anymore. He was Maurice. Everyone knew who he was. Then came 2022 and everything changed. Because behavior released the dredge. Now we all know that dredge is basically a walking nightmare. And I know we haven't covered the dredge yet, but he's just a mass of darkness, limbs, and really things that shouldn't be moving around on their own. When players started examining the dredge, they noticed something really weird. One of the cosmetic appearances included a horse head. At the exact same time, Maurice disappeared from Father Campbell's chapel. The horse was gone, completely gone. Now, Behavior never released a cutscene showing what happened, but the community reached a conclusion almost immediately. The dredge ate Maurice. Case closed. Investigation over. No further questions. Was that officially confirmed? No, not exactly. Did that stop the community? Absolutely not. Suddenly, players were campaigning for Maurice. People created memes, fan art, hashtags, like Justice for Maurice became a genuine thing. And I loved the fact that in a game filled with murderers and survivors, the biggest concern for the community was what happened to the horse. At this point, Maurice had gone from a background decoration to a full-blown celebrity. And Behavior noticed. Because eventually, Maurice returned. The horse was back. Somehow, maybe he escaped. Maybe the entity felt guilty. Maybe Maurice simply decided that being consumed by a nightmare creature wasn't for him. Whatever happened, Maurice came home, and the community celebrated. But Behavior wasn't finished, because later they released one of the strangest cosmetics in Dead by Daylight. The dredge received the memory of Maurice's skin. And yes, that is exactly as horrifying as it sounds. Maurice became a part of the dredge's appearance. It's creepy, it's disturbing, but somehow it almost kind of felt adorable because it's Maurice. So yes, Dead by Daylight is a very strange game. Now here is where Maurice's story becomes completely ridiculous. Because most characters in Dead by Daylight spend their entire existence trapped in the fog. But not Maurice. Maurice got a promotion. When Dead by Daylight collabed with Assassin's Creed Shadows, Maurice appeared as a mount. And yes, an actual mount, a horse you can ride. Which means Maurice achieved something very few characters in Dead by Daylight ever managed. He escaped. At least that's what the community likes to believe. Imagine Maurice looking around the fog and deciding, you know what? I have had enough. And somehow finding a portal and ending up in Japan? No more killers, no more hooks, no more dreads trying to absorb him in his nightmare flesh. Just a fresh start. The funniest part is that none of this was planned. Behavior created a horse. The community turned him into a mascot, then a celebrity, then a victim, then a survivor, and finally a crossover character. And that's an incredible career for a horse that is just laying next to a wagon. I think that is why people still love Maurice. He's one of the few wholesome things in Dead by Daylight. In a game filled with murders, monsters, endless suffering, Maurice is a reminder that sometimes the community decides what's important. And apparently, what was important was the horse.
We love Maurice.
Hell yeah,
We love Maurice.
he's the
Uh,
cutest.
so, should we tell people what we did just before we recorded this?
Yes.
We played a custom game. We normally play games before recording just to get into the Dead by Daylight mindset. We usually play survivor games and run around and support each other. But today, I had the idea of doing a custom game and playing on Father Campbell's map and going to see Maurice. And so Lemon went over to see Maurice,
I
and
petted him a lot.
then I came over and I was dressed for the occasion.
Ugh.
I bought the Memories of Maurice skin for my
Yeah,
dredge. I got a photograph. I got a selfie with Maurice.
yes, you did. And that was
Um,
disturbing.
and then I killed everyone because, that's what the dredge does.
You
Uh,
married me.
but it was nice to see Maurice.
It wasn't nice to be married by somebody looking like Maurice.
Well, you have to get taken in by Maurice. Yum 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 yum. Yeah, Maurice, he is a staple of Dead by Daylight. I love that he's been able to leave Dead by Daylight twice now, once by a bad means and once by a good means, I guess.
Mm,
That is cool. I like that they continue to
I
build lore around this horse.
I did read somewhere that when the Dreads joined the game, there was a mistake in the 3D thing of Maurice,
Mhm.
and that's why he was removed for a bit.
Yeah, well, they reused Maurice's head in the dredge idling animation in the lobby, and his
Yeah,
head keeps falling out of the body
yeah, there was a yeah,
on the non-burn side. Yeah, Maurice has three eyes. He has a
he
burnt
does.
face, and he didn't have three eyes when he was taken into the trials, and so the entity is an animal lover. The entity
Gifted
is
him.
trying to kill everyone and trying to create these horrible games, but gave the horse an extra eye so they could see what was going on around them. I don't know if that's a gift or a curse, to be fair, with all the stuff that goes on in that
Well,
uh, in that game.
that's a good question because it was a cursed eye
Mm,
that he was gifted from the entity. Yeah. But there is also a whole story in the tomes that we didn't have time for today.
mhm,
But where Maurice actually had joined, I can't remember her name right now, uh, but she is like, is it called a samurai?
mhm.
And she was riding Maurice into fights while he was
Wow.
gone. That was a whole nother story that I will look more into for an extra episode at some point.
Mhm.
but it is in the archives in the tomes somewhere.
Well, thank you for sharing. That was a nice palate cleanser after all of the news that we heard. Every week, we like to pick a creator from the world of Dead by Daylight and recommend them to you. And this week is no different. This week's recommendation is the amazing Ghost Arcade. Ghost Arcade, who you can find on Twitch. Um, it is exactly as it sounds, GHOSTARCADE, with the O of Ghost being a zero. You know Ghost Arcade, Lemon?
Yes, I do. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah,
I
I know
also
you.
remember you meeting him at TwitchCon last
Mhm.
year.
Yeah, he was really lovely. He is really lovely. He is a Twitch ambassador, and that's no mean feat out of all of the Twitch streamers. It's well deserved. He's also one of the original Dead by Daylight Fog Whisperers, and now
Hmm.
Dead by Daylight creator in the program. Um, he's so full of energy, and you can just tell loves the game inside and
Hmm.
out, is constantly thinking of new ways to play the game, new ways to enjoy the game. And ultimately, it's all about enjoyment for Ghost. You can absolutely tell he is in it for the enjoyment of the game.
He's amazing as a person.
I would recommend that people check out the TikToks and the YouTube shorts because the editing on those is immaculate. He tells within the short time frame of those things, he tells epic stories with beginning, middles, and ends, and it's so impressive. So yeah, definitely check out the shorts, the TikToks, the YouTubes, but you can find him mostly on Twitch. All links in the show notes as usual. Next week, we will finally be looking at Kate, Kate Denson, the survivor who shares the chapter with the clown. That will definitely be happening next week. Making no promises, obviously, but it should happen next week. A reminder that we do have a website, beyondcampfire.com, where you can find links to all of our major podcast platforms and where to find us, all of our socials. And please continue to follow. We've hit 3,000 listens/streams this week, and that is wild to
It's
us.
going so fast right now.
So we can only thank each and every one of you for continuing to listen, for continuing to hit that follow button, and for continuing to share with your Dead by Daylight friends. We massively appreciate it. So thank you so
Mm,
much. This is the point where we normally ask a listener question each. However, there is only one question to ask this week, and that is, what are your thoughts on all of the news that you've heard this week? All of the news from the 10th anniversary. What are you most excited for? What are you not excited for? What's kind of meh? What is, yeah, what's floating your boat? I want to know each and every one of your thoughts about each and every one of the announcements. I want some long comments this week. And while everyone flexes their writing fingers and puts them on their keyboards to type a comment, remember, play safe out there and don't get hooked.